Good evening. Now it is a will make more interesting now so that interactive session. But in that it is a basically concern and challenges for making the nuclear power plant by the all the stakeholder, whether he is a manufacturer, whether he is building the nuclear power plant or service provider, or what are the challenges are there. So based on that, certain challenges, first challenge, if you just see, one is the finance, how to arrange, how to make the cost effective, what are the benefit can be possible. Now just I will inform, up to 2017 July, I think in the morning session CMD has also informed that the excise duty, sales tax benefit, nil sales tax, nil excise duty and custom duty was the nil, VAT etc. nil on that, almost that counts to be 18 to 20%. So cost has already increased of the plant by 18 to 20% after 2017, though custom duty benefits were extended to certain time limit. Now further recent in the budget, the government has given this benefit up to 2035. So that whatever the imports you are taking place, the custom duty approximately it is 8-9% it comes. But again, once you import that equipment, GST will be applicable. So definitely, but representation will go from the different companies, whether it is a like OEM, EDF or Rosatom or Westinghouse, or those who will be making the private maker like Reliance, Adani or JSW or JSPL or Aditya Birla Group or Vedanta Group. And I think NPCIL already making the lot of time the representation to reduce this, bring down the GST to zero. One is the financial plant. Another is the technology. Which technology we select and how to evaluate. Suppose definitely indigenous technology, that is the PSWR, it is a very cost effective, and Indian industry is also a very cost sensitive. So how to evaluate the technology if you are taking from Rosatom or EDF or Westinghouse or Korean KNHNP. So like that, that is a very, evaluation is a very complex nature, but like that, another just recent topic, what site selection. Site selection again, the higher plant, lower plant or the coastal site or this thing. So it is a very, but we will make more interactive, and those who are providing certain solution for us in that, I will call to give some 5 minutes little bit the concern and how the cost will be reduced or time will be reduced by using that one. One is Mr. Dr. Shyam Sundar. He is MD of the ProZim, and he provides the lot of solution for the analysis. Those analyses are not given in the our design. So in that we ask the party to make the design analysis, either they ask to TC or some other, and they are also having their own design group, and he will give little bit insight how and what mistakes makes the while bidding the party. See, small bidder is there in supply chain in the nuclear power plant. Then he sees that bid is received and the tender is published. Then they quote that rate. But what should have been considered in their bidding that thing, they are not considering. So certain parameters etc. he will give the more detail about that. Mr. Dr. Shyam Sundar, please. You have slide.
Yeah. Good evening, all. We have survived about 6-7 hours so far, so we can survive another 1 hour or 1.5 hours. Before I go for that, there are some 2-3 major threats to the nuclear community in the entire world. I think you mentioned some of the things, Sir Sanjay. You mentioned about the renewable energy. The first threat is from the public perception. I think the community has to do a lot because my state in Karnataka, the Karnataka government rejected the NTPC's claim for particular sites. They said, okay, you come with an alternate site. And there was no site, this was purely political, but this was a, the perception of the people about the threat of nuclear radiation. So this is the enemy number one. So this has to be a significant emphasis. Ankita from CII was talking about that. This is something which the entire nuclear community, not only in India, all over the world has to work on that. The second threat is from the other sources of competing sources of energy. I was talking to some Ministry of Power people, and it has come in the newspapers also, in the news also. The cost of storage of electricity, which was till about 1 year back, which was about 12 to 13 rupees, has come down to 2 to 3 rupees now. So with coal, whatever is the cost, same thing we are almost able to get from the renewable, solar or wind, etc. So that means our base load capacity, continuous 24/7, that argument will not be any more valid. The fourth thing is the cost. I have been trying to understand the cost of electricity produced. There is still a lot of confusion. If any of you are asked to pay, instead of your 8 rupees or 7 rupees per unit of electricity, if you are asked to pay 12 rupees or 15 rupees because this is clean, this is green, this is energy transition, vagera, none of us will pay. Let's take it. And no government can sustain that. So this is a big threat of the cost. So the entire discussion on nuclear has to revolve around the cost, how to make the nuclear energy cheaper. That's why I was asking the question in the morning about how can we reduce the regulatory, how can we modulate the regulatory controls so that we can reduce the cost. There is a lot of over design. How can we do that? The aircraft industry has done that. Everybody has done that in the world. And can we bring that kind of approach to nuclear? In fact, all of us blame Donald Trump, but within few weeks of his taking over charge, he made 2 executive orders to modify the regulatory mechanisms in America, to simplify the regulatory mechanisms. So something like that has to be done to see how it can be made safe, but still the cost can be reduced. So these are 2-3 points I wanted to make. Quickly, please. So we are working on we are providing variety of services to nuclear industry. We have been in the nuclear industry in India and also in the UK, France, etc. for more than 2 decades. Please. These are some of the services we provide. I can share this with you later. I will quickly. Please go next slide. So these are some of the systems of nuclear power plant which we have worked. Practically all the things, right from the core to secondary cycle, balance of plant, etc. Please, next. So these are some of the system structures and components we have worked. Next. Yeah, this is where the issue is. We are a small company, we are a MSME company providing this kind of services, but we are sandwiched. We always feel we are sandwiched. We work, we interface with operators like NPCIL or Bhavini, or EPC contractors like L&T or Tata TPL or any of the Kirloskar Oil Engines people are there. So we interface with all of them. We have also interfaced with the regulatory bodies. But then what we see is the biggest problem, as Kailash Agarwal, Mr. Agarwal, K.U. Agarwal was mentioning, there is a huge lack of information in the vendor ecosystem in India. This is the biggest threat. This is the biggest problem for the growth. We are talking of 12 times growth, etc. For that, the ecosystem has not got developed in India. This is the first problem, or this is the biggest problem that we have to address. Please. And we, sorry, one second. So we from ProSim, please go back. We from ProSim, we have been a part of different initiatives. For example, from World Nuclear Association, there is an initiative called CARDEL, which was meant to harmonize the various codes. Sir, you were talking of the RCC code and the ASME code. So all that trouble with this Cardell committee is trying to, there were 2 phases. We were part of that. We have presented our reports on that, including Russian standards we have compared and how to harmonize. This is the purpose of that Cardell initiative. We were a part of that, but it was a voluntary exercise, so we couldn't afford to be a part of that, so we have stopped now. Please, next. And we are doing, though we are a small company, we have been doing a lot of educational activities since very long time. This is one activity where we did, Mr. Bharadwaj is here, I am very happy, sir. I don't know if you remember. So this was you had supported this. This was in 2018. So we did some education on the structural integrity assessment and what has to be done, etc. Mr. A.K. Bala, who is the currently AERB chairman, he was also, in fact, he supported us a lot. He said, I will depute speakers, you do this kind of exercise. So this was done. Please, next. And this is the Cardell, some of the initiatives in Cardell, which, next, please. So these are, okay, next. So the core of my concern is there is no nuclear energy ecosystem in India. This is, I have already told. Earlier there was no business of scale, and government came up with fleet mode from the NPCIL, and still things were not going at the rate that it was expected. I am sure Anil Parab or Mr. Mujumdar from KOIL, they will tell more details about that. But with the introduction of Shanti Bill, the situation has to change. The challenge is, in America, the nuclear program started about 1955-56. And they have taken so many years, more than 7 decades, to come to about 97 gigawatts, which they have today in 93 plants. And this, in India, we are trying to compress to about 2 to 2.5 decades. So imagine the scale of investment that has gone. Imagine the scale of training, manpower development, etc. that has gone. And how can we compress? How can we compress so that our risks are compressed for the country and for the businesses involved? This is what we have to think. This is not a very small issue. This is what we have to think about. Please, next. So, today we have been talking about DID, safety requirements and all that. The vendor ecosystem does not know any of these at all. And who has to educate the vendors? This doesn't happen at all. This is the biggest problem. This I have spoken to people in NPCIL also. Earlier there was one Mr. Thomas Matthew who was the ED of NPCIL. I talked to him and he said he organized one day event. Then after his retirement it is stopped. And he was doing more from the QA perspective, not from the guidance perspective. So because of this, as a service providing industry, we have faced a lot of problem. For example, there is a pump manufacturer. He gives a quote. He gives a quote without realizing what is the meaning, what he has to deliver to NPCIL. What is the meaning of this safety? How he just thinks, okay, NPCIL, and then if we say seismic analysis has to be done so many times, it goes on iteration. Mr. Srivastava explained very well, the enveloping and all that. So we have to go through all this, he doesn't know at all. So if NPCIL says, okay, go to ProSim or go to somebody for seismic analysis or whatever, design change, etc. Then these people will say, sir, itna paisa lagega, itna time lagega. I have the pump which is running and it costs only 1 lakh rupees and you are telling it like, for example, I am telling it costs 5 lakhs rupees. So they have no concept. This is the biggest threat. So if the nuclear industry in India has to grow, so we have to consciously create an ecosystem and train the ecosystem in India. This is the only point I am making. Which, for whatever reason, earlier it didn't happen. But if India has to realize the nuclear dream of 100 gigawatts, and this kind of thing is very, very must. Please, next. And so this is, next, please. So for that reason, I have joined hands with IIT Bombay. We are creating this India Nuclear Energy Forum in 2026, about which Mr. K.O. Agarwal is also a part of that. And then this is on 29th and 30th of May. Please, next. So this is the ecosystem. Ecosystem has government, right from the regulatory body, different DIE entities, different ministries. There were mentions of Ministry of Environment, Geology Ministry. There are various ministries, even state government, different departments are involved. So all the government agencies, then prospective nuclear operators, whether it is public sector like ONGC or NLC or NTPC, etc., or private players. So all these people, and then the nuclear vendor support base, it could be EPC contractors, it could be system integrators, or equipment suppliers, or component suppliers, etc. and service providers like us and manufacturing companies. MSMEs have been taken as a kind of liability. MSMEs have not been still seen as a asset, and that kind of a culture has to be created. And then nuclear technology providers, whether it is reactors or SMRs or MMRs or even nuclear fuel cycle related technologies. I am glad, we have 10x people here. So all such people, including the academic institutions and skill development, skill imparting institutions, they have to merge together. These are the stakeholders in the industry. So there is no forum as of now to bring all these people together. And this is the basic requirement. Please, next slide. So in my view, this we discussed with the faculty in IIT and some of the people who are involved in the formulation of this nuclear forum multiple times. So this may not be perfect, but this gives an idea of what we are talking of a nuclear ecosystem. It should have the R&D as base, because today we are importing technology. We have developed up to one level, the 700 megawatt reactor. But then what future? The world is going on such a fast pace, and where are we, and how do we reach to the global levels of development? So R&D is required, academic programs are required. So all these things are required. I don't want to mention anything, all the things in detail, but we have to create this kind of a ecosystem comprising of all the players, all the actors in the nuclear energy related area. And if we create that, I am 100% sure the 100 gigawatts can be achieved. But who will build the cat? Who is the one who can do this? These are the questions that we have to think. Please, next slide. So that's all from my side. In simple terms, India can do a lot because of the talent we have, the kind of talent we have. We have startups who are doing nuclear batteries, for example, in China, in USA. And in India, you don't see any such venture at all. So there are people who have struggled hard, they are not still successful. Somebody asked about hydrogen, question of hydrogen generating from nuclear. There is no work at all, except VRC, there is no work at all outside. So such things will take randomly, rapid leap in the country, and that kind of a thing can happen. So one good thing about the nuclear, the Shanti Bill is, it is throwing open the R&D also in the nuclear area to the private parties. This is one big thing that I can see. Because defense was held forte of government for a very long time. The moment defense has been opened up, lot of things have happened. A defense ecosystem has been created. Many of you here are, you're in the 90s. Earlier, even for automotive, there was no ecosystem for India. For those of you who are younger than me, I can tell, Tata Motors started this Tata Indica design, and then TVS started their own design. And with those two ventures, it started, and then the Indian auto industry started booming, and now there is a very strong automotive industry ecosystem in India, for which government has supported, the industry has supported. And such a thing has to happen for nuclear. And earlier, we used to work in the automotive industry also, so I am telling this. In 96, 97 or 98, people were talking, okay, automotive component industry will become $3 billion. Just casting industry alone, metal casting industry alone, India has become $23 billion as of today. So for the whole of automotive components, they were talking of 3 billion in 1997. And today, just metal casting industry has gone multiple times of that. So what I am telling is, India has done these kind of things. So if we all coordinate, if we all plan together, sit together and work together, the nuclear dream also can be realized. And in my view, instead of just being an importer of technology or a user of technology, India can also become an exporter of nuclear technology. And that is my personal dream. I am a chota admi, I am very, very small, but this is the personal dream I have got. So for that sake, a nuclear ecosystem has to be created. All the challenges of the nuclear vendor ecosystem, especially the MSMEs, the manufacturing sector, that has to be addressed, sir. This is my small submission. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shamsundarji. And in that ecosystem, we have seen the R&D. Basically, definitely, if it has to grow in multiple fold, and as per the target of the government of India, the 100 gigawatt by 2047. So naturally, a good number of expert people or the skilled persons are required of a different cadre. So that is also need to be, because presently the skill power, manpower is available with the either NPCIL or BRC, means DA, Department of Atomic Energy. But slowly, and other some expert private industry like L&T or those who are working in association with the NPCIL. So definitely in that regard, and one thing that the R&D, and since we know that we have a very good skill manpower who are doing a good job outside the India, and presently as the space industry is opened up, the defense industry is opened up, now they are doing, defenses are getting exported, the space industry is also doing the well. Definitely shortly we will see that the nuclear industry will also do a wonderful, that is what the feeling it is there, though the different challenges will be there. The semiconductor industry is also getting developed now. Similarly, there are the certain challenges. The site selection we have mentioned. You can select, but the water availability is also required. A good amount of water is required. So, and today we are facing the problem that the different state, they are having the issues that you will share this much water, this state will share this much water of the river. Suppose if you are constructing the other areas, but in the coastal point, the water requirement will be the less. Similarly, constructing the power plant, there will be a little bit how to coordinate all the atoms in a proper way, and whether there is a mismatch in the equipment or how it can be seen. So there are, earlier we used to use a 3D modeling, but it has improved a lot, and how it benefits and real time impact it gives, what are the specification exactly. That in this regard, I will call the Roshan Singh Nauliwar, who is Vice President of the Cadmatic Engineering, Finland-based company, but they are established in India, and they are doing the lot of job with the NPCIL, and sir is knowing very well the lot of benefits we have achieved, but so that people will come to know the what exactly and how the time period, etc. will get reduced. Please, Mr. Roshan Singh.
Yeah, thank you, INS committee, for giving this opportunity. And good evening to all. Thank you to all the distinguished speakers. A lot of brainstorming session. It has enriched us a lot, and we will take it back. Today I am here representing Cadmatic. Software solutions which helps nuclear power plants to design, build, and operate. So everything starts from the, like a very initial phase. Next slide. So small information, where are we from? Actually, head office from Turku, Finland. And then we have offices across globe in 20 countries. And especially when you see the map, in India, we are having special growth opportunities are there, and we have opened up 4 offices. That says it's a lot, and we are working with NPCIL since 2008. Today, like I'm fortunate to say, like 3 power plants have been designed on Cadmatic platform. 4th one is on the roll now. So around 60 countries we have customers established, more than 6,000 customers over there. Next slide. And we are catering our solutions in most of the industries like nuclear, oil and gas, pulp, paper, globally. So, but I'll not go in detail with that. I'll move to the next slide, wherein what we have observed, like Shyam Sundar sir has mentioning, like there are a lot of stakeholders in power plants, this thing like kind of a design datas, document management systems, maintenance systems, and also operations. So all are using their own platforms, but unfortunately they are so scattered. So we cannot have a real time, like if I want to know what is happening, how I can fetch the data from other departments, it's a big challenge. So we understood this from the industry, and then we came up with our digital twin platform. Next slide. eShare, which connects all these stakeholders. With a single click of a button, it links it to your 3D model, whatever the asset in your 3D model, like for an example, pump, for an example, any equipment. So when you click on that particular equipment or pump or a pipe, so it gives you a relevant information. Maybe it is a document, drawing, isometries, or maintenance related, or manufacturing related, when it was overhauled, and what is really action necessary to take over there. So this eShare, Cadmatic single source of truth, what we call, and we have developed this considering today's challenge, talking with various stakeholders. It has eased like in bringing all the people and information flows seamlessly and in real time. Next slide. So coming to the design perspective, like Cadmatic being a software, it doesn't require any kind of a, like very hi-fi systems or investments and all. It is easy to learn, implement, and it doesn't require a high-end any hardwares. So it consists of so many disciplines like piping, cable trays, air ducts, or HVAC, what we call structures, which are inter-associative with instrumentation, automation, drawings also, which ensures a kind of a, like a design consistency. Even if in a process engineering, if once it is frozen, then we start our 3D modeling, and if user purposely makes any mistake, so system prompts you, like it's kind of, hey, there is an inconsistency. The prompt process, we have got some AI tools embedded over here, which trains that particular user that you are putting a kind of a wall after pump. It should be before that, according to the frozen process instrumentation or P&I diagram. So that kind of, and we have got a clash check. So instead of going to the site and constructing, then we will feel that, oh, there is a clash over here. So it's a very cost impact. So here only, like our review tools are so strong, very lightweighted, so that today I'm happy to say that most of the clash checks before design goes to a site are, subdued in this during the design phases only. And it also, like when we talk about ecosystem like owner-operator, engineering consultants, EPCs, EPCMs. So we have developed one very important tool called Co-Designer, where being wherever your office locations are or the users, so you can connect all the people to one project sitting in the remote areas also. So that kind of improvements in the or functionalities in Cadmatic made project, like faster and more efficiently. It has within the timeline it has been completed. Next slide. So directly coming to NPCIL, as I was saying, like we have been working, and I must say here, like working with NPCIL, it has got its own flavor, and we learned a lot and we understood the process. And then, like, we thought in the digital world how we can help NPCIL in improvising year on year. So I remember, like, Kakrapa, quite a long duration. So I was working on that particular, why it took so long. What are the automations required? Because based on that, kind of a Gorakhpur, Haryana was coming, and then we made such a kind of automations, and the 7 years project reduced to 4.5 years. It's a big success for us. And then based on Gorakhpur, Haryana, then Kaiga was there, and we again did automation where how we can reduce certain tag names and like digitalize those kind of macros such that it can save minimum 8 to 9 months, like in converting that Kaiga to, Gorakhpur, Haryana to Kaiga. So these kind of, improvisation we studied from the project based on our experiences, and we ensured that project again reduces by 30% next project. So we have got a control sharing where owner operator NPCL can talk with EPCs, EPCMs. That ecosystem where project keeps on, like developing itself. Whatever is design done at EPC, EPCMs will go to the owner operator online or offline. That kind of improvisations we have made it. So we have the engineers working for kind of a nuclear power plant projects, very well experienced. They understand the language and they develop the kind of functionalities which makes your day-to-day engineering work very easy and faster. Next slide. We are working with globally owner operators where I said we are trusted company, and with NPCL definitely they always treat us as a technology partners. Whenever the issues or challenges comes, we sit together, understand and ensure that the delivery is taken care. We are very customer centric. We listen to you and we make sure that solutions are provided. And having an industry expert for decades, our people are available all the time, and Team India is very persistent in following not only the owner operator but all its ecosystem, ensuring that all the informations are flowing in the ecosystems. So some of the references I have shown in here, which we are working past 20 years, 25 years still, and we have been improving with their inputs. And today, Cadmatic is the most trusted brand in most part of the globe. Next. So that's about it. And let's connect together. And my team is also here if any technical information is required. Or tomorrow is so I am available for more discussions also. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Roshanji. I know when COVID took place in 2020, the people were asked not to move and they have to remain in the residence only. So we were facing the problem, though because computer can be operated from the office only. So we requested Cadmatic to provide more licenses, and they happily provided without any charging additional fee, and whatever number of licenses required, they provided. So that is what one incident I remember. Now, in this also there is a, if I miss the supply chain management, so I like to hear from the horse's mouth, like Kirloskar Oil Engine, they provides the DG power set for our 700 megawatt, or even the Russian reactor, what we are doing at 3, 4 and 5, 6, they are supplying the DG set. So he can, Mr. SM Mujumdar ji, SK Mujumdar ji, to make some any mismatch or any improvement is required, or what are the changes required, so that the supply chain can be improved further.
Good evening all. Thank you, Agarwal ji. I am Sanjay Mujumdar. I am heading the defense, nuclear and marine business in Kirloskar Oranges. Can you hear me now? Yeah. So I'm heading defense, marine and nuclear division in Kirloskar Oranges. So basically, looking at the overall thing, I have not made any presentation, so I will not bore you for anything, more than 2 minutes or so. Point here is that, as Kirloskar Oranges, we have been engaged since 2007, and we have supplied around 20 numbers of DG sets. That includes the KAPP, RAPP, total 16 numbers of 4.2 megawatt, and so also for, Bhavini, where we have supplied 4 numbers of 3.6 megawatt. Additionally, we have supplied 20 numbers of 200 kV also, this rating. So the point here is that, when we look at the entire, the proceedings that we have to go through right from the bidding stage, because there are a lot of compliances that has to go through and we have to adhere to all the timeline requirements and so. So we truly respect when it comes to the quality, reliability, and the safety factor, which is a paramount thing as far as nuclear is concerned. But it is equally important to synergize the overall thing. This is what I feel like. When I say synergize, is something to do, when it comes to the entire cycle time for the drawing approval and the QAP approval, is something, it takes a lot of time. In my opinion, if we make the complete, all the stakeholders together and we can do something, I think we can manage this job very effectively. Today what is happening is the drawing approval is the first part to go, followed by the QAP approval. So unless the drawing is approved, the QAP will not be made. So this is kind of a thing which is happening, and since both the sides have equal experience, having gone through different projects, it is equally important now, and looking at the scale what we are talking about today, it is going to be, today we are 8 gigawatts, we are talking about 100. So it is almost, 11 times kind of a scaling that we are looking for. I think the things have to improve on both the sides, and this is what I feel like that, in fact, this has been discussed in the ongoing projects also, and NPCIL is kind enough to come forward with the suggestion, and we are working on in that direction, how it can be minimized. Second, one of the factor what I could say is the supply chain constraints. While there are list of approved vendors which are already there from the NPCIL, but what happens is when it comes to the selection criteria, as a firm, we have our own recommendations to go, while NPCIL is flexible enough to accommodate this thing, that to evaluate the other vendors also, but the entire process is a long process. So whether there is a possibility to reduce the timelines, or maybe based on the recommendation with the select manufacturers, whether that list can be enhanced, and something in advance you can evaluate those vendors and keep it as a optional thing for any particular atom. These are the optional vendors you can go. If there are 4 or 5 options available, then it becomes workable for the manufacturer to go with that kind of an option. I think that flexibility is very much required. The scale what we are talking about, that has to come in, and Dr. Shamsundar, our friend, he mentioned about the ecosystem. I think this is one of the initiatives that I would like to see in the ecosystem, that we have the complete vendor base ready kind of a situation, because there are select vendors, and looking at the product which we are talking about is a highly customized product. It's not something that is off the shelf available. And because as everybody is aware that when we talk about DG set, is something we are customizing in the sense that it has to pass through the complete seismic analysis. One is by the analysis, second is by all the auxiliaries have to go, select auxiliaries will go with the check table testing. All these things are relevant, and this is something engineering lead time which takes a lot of time. So from that point of view, the vendor also comes as one of the stakeholders, and his inputs are equally important. I think this is one more suggestion. The third would be, I would say, when it comes to the installation commissioning, majority thing what happens is that now, for example, the RAPP, we have delivered the 8 numbers of 4.2 megawatt. Of course, in between the COVID thing happened and we were stuck as to how do we go about. Things have been sorted out. The point is that in 2021, that the operational certificate, we got it. That means that everything has been handed over. But till today, our obligations for the purchase order still remains. You can imagine now 5 years are gone, our retention bank guarantee is still on hold. So from a manufacturing standpoint of view, when I have fulfilled my obligation, how is it that I can continue? Because there is a lot of financial risk that goes in. I would not say risk, but something additional cost. So what for? Whether we can think differently. I think this is one of the factors that we can definitely think about. And I think looking at a space, what we are looking at 11 times 100 gigawatt, I think we as an engineering industry, apart from the diesel engines, we have our own growth plans to go into the non-DG set or non-diesel also. So there are some different things which are already ready, I would say. When it comes to the hydrogen engine, we are ready with the hydrogen engine. We are looking for a kind of application thing where we can come to you as a supplier. You can guide us how to go about. So this is something more interactive sessions has to happen as to understanding each other and what the support system can be made in. The last point I would say is more on the when it comes to, because I'm handling the defense part also, there are laid down procedures within the segment because the government is very particular about Atmanirbhar. And under the Atmanirbhar, there are different initiatives which the government is proposing to the industry. For example, it is a Make One, a kind of a funding arrangement where 70% funding will be from government, 30% will be from the industry. If that is kind of so, then indigenization will be at a faster rate. So whether we can think about a kind of a indigenization cell within nuclear sector, I think that would be appropriate. Because in defense, there is an indigenization cell which is driving all the initiatives. So I don't find similar kind of thing thrust been given in the nuclear sector. And now that we are very, very much poised for this kind of a growth, what we are looking at, I think definitely the time has come, we should look for that. This is one of the suggestions. And what happens, when it comes to the indigenization, it is only at the part level we are looking for. Anything during the course of execution also, we can come out that this is something additionally I want to do. I think that also need to be supported well. So there has to be flexibility that I would like to see, whether we can, understand each other in more clarity and we can, there's a laid down policy or kind of a procedure is available. I think that will definitely help. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mujumdar ji. Now, there are certain further concerns regarding the fuel related, but definitely Bharadwaj Saab lecture is there tomorrow. The most of the concern or the challenges definitely will be addressed, the entire fuel cycle related. So that, and another maybe people fighting, these people, those who wanted to run the power plant privately, how will be the electricity will be charged? So that presently it is exclusively made for the NPCIL. So that it is still pending. I think government will issue shortly. It is likely to get issued and it will be in line with the green energy produced by the solar energy like that. So, and in this regard, certain regulatory related, one company I came to know, they have designed the one Anushakti AI based app, and it is a free tool which makes it easy to search and understand the AR published information and how to proceed that the further clearances and all these things, it has been provided and it is freely available. And I think Mr. Ashwin, you can throw little bit light, maybe 2 minutes on that topic if you have. Verbally you can speak, need not have present anything. Just how it will help the customer or anybody to get the ARB clearances, something sort of checklist, etc. What, including the site selection or this thing you can.
Thank you, sir. So we are a startup working in nuclear design space, and one part of what we do is also regulatory intelligence. So when we started, we want to understand what are the regulations around design and further aspects of it. So the regulatory intelligence is one part that we built. We approach nuclear design from the angle of AI and high performance compute. So when we came from that angle, we built a tool called Anushakti AI, which a public version we have released to the, it's a public tool right now. Anyone can go to anushakti.ai, login and use it. So what it does is, it's basically, in simple terms, it's like ChatGPT for regulations, nuclear regulations in India. So you can search for any queries that you have, whether it's qualitative questions about regulations or specific numbers, engineering numbers about what standards it specifies for a wall thickness or whatever it is. And you can even ask it about rules and regulations and safety directives, whatever is published publicly by ARB. You can search on the tool. It will give very accurate information with a source reference. So it will actually say that as per, all the citing documents you mentioned today, for example, any of those documents you can ask directly. It will give you very qualitatively, descriptively, it will say that this is what you have to do. And it is as per ARB guide so and so, page number so and so. So it's very authoritative. There is no, the main thing is with ChatGPT and all, you get a lot of hallucinations, and it need not be very authoritative. Right? It knows too much. But this is very grounded to ARB's published information, so it's always accurate. So it's a free tool for public, and please try it out. Thank you.
Now, any one like to mention the certain concern or challenges among the delegates? EIL can throw little bit related to design, etc. concept, anything, or TC. Mr. Shriram, you have any, though you are working in Canada, but anything you find that in getting the target, achieving this target, 100 gigawatt, or otherwise just
Happy to share some thoughts very quickly.
just put 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah.
1 minute.
I guess I talk a lot, but very, very quick thoughts that come to mind. I come from Toronto, Canada, and I work for a company that does a lot of work in the Canadian nuclear industry. There are a few thoughts that come to mind in terms of understanding how that industry works and what lessons we can learn, and I'm also here to learn how this industry works. I'm here with an intention of learning that what we call as Vidyarthi mindset. That industry there has got something called Organization of CANDO Nuclear Industries, OCNI. It is an industry body that brings a supply chain for the CANDO reactors together. So it has got both local as well as international players here. The way I look at it is this nuclear pie is so big. This pizza is so big that all of us can have a piece of the pie. That is how much business there is right now. So even if Indian companies are interested to sort of look at the Canadian supply chain, they do a lot of education activities. So just going to their website, ocni.org, I think that's the website, we can learn a lot and benchmark that idea, because what they are doing is they also go into new jurisdictions. For example, new province in Canada where they want to build CANDO reactors. How do you develop the local supply chain? They do not have a nuclear QA umbrella. They are good engineering component manufacturers like pumps and other parts. How do you get them into the nuclear umbrella fold? The QA program doesn't exist in those companies. They have other QAs that they follow. So there is a lot of benchmarking that can be done in that area. One thing that as an international company with some Indian presence, what I would like to seek advice on is how do you, for somebody who's coming brand new, how do you learn about the Indian nuclear industry? I'm learning as a function of time, talking to people. I understand this is a very price-sensitive market. I also understand there's a lot of localization that is required in order to succeed in this market. Is there a template to follow? Is there what I call key lessons learned for new companies coming in? If there is something that we can learn, I mean, this forum is definitely one of them, but if there is something that is documented and easy to learn, that will be great. So in terms of lesson sharing, OCNI is a great place to look and something to follow as a benchmark, international benchmark there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sriramji. And INS is the one place where you will get the how to localize your thing, and we will help you to add or the other industry also. And I have 100% confidence that the Indian industry not only will provide the equipment or whatever to Indian nuclear related this thing, but definitely they will provide at a very reasonable and a cost effective and quality product all over the world. That is what the confidence I have today, the way we are working in Indian industry, that is what. And last, I will request Anil Parabji to give the concluding remark on, since he is having a very vast experience, he is having the interaction with the Indian industry, foreign industry, etc. Please, sir.
Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I think very difficult to talk after almost whole days. Proceedings have happened. Lot of I'm here for almost last more than 1 hour. Lot of technical stuff and the challenges. I see some known faces from whom I have learnt, some new faces, so which is a welcome sign for nuclear industry. I would say that today also I heard some skepticism, doubts, criteria, safety concerns. I would go back to maybe a year ago when everything, the fingers were pointing towards government, saying that unless government amends the Atomic Energy Act, unless the government amends the Civil Nuclear Liability Act, real sense nothing meaningful can happen in Indian nuclear sector. And government was quite proactive, giving a lot of assurances, but it was hard to imagine that they can do it so swiftly. I think whatever government has to do is already done. And today, our Indian civil nuclear liability is not only consistent with international laws, I would say that it even provides much better relief to the developers. In fact, I have not seen any international liability regime which provides relief to the operator for property insurance. In fact, this act provides that for the plant owner. I have not seen any other international liability regime which also gives you insurance against terror attacks and civilian rights. Generally, it is supposed to be the plant owner's responsibility. So when government has given that platform, I think all of us who have spent decades and decades in the nuclear industry, if we cannot make it happen, then obviously we should blame ourselves. That is what I would say. I think I heard some comments made that over 60 years US has built from 97 gigawatt. If you really track US capacity addition, out of that, in fact, almost 90 gigawatt is added in 1970 to 1990 at an average of 4.6 gigawatt per year, which is 30 years back. And what was the reactor sizes those days? More 500 megawatt, 600 megawatt, at best 800 megawatt. What are the sizes today? More than 1000 megawatt. What were the tools available? I was listening to Cadmatic when they were talking about digital twin. Today even you can simulate the nuclear reaction. That's the kind of tools which are available, and it is becoming day by day more and more powerful with the help of artificial intelligence. So you have much better sophisticated tools, much better, I would say, manufacturing, automation, construction methodologies. Now with this, if we still have doubts in mind, obviously government can do nothing about it, okay? And we should blame ourselves. Also, if you see why all of a sudden there is so much excitement about nuclear across the world, I would say that there was a similar interest even in 2008, 9, then the Fukushima happened, and then the whole designs went through a lot of safety upgrades and some concerns, apprehensions. It has actually come back with a very clear-cut need, and it is actually driven by artificial intelligence, hyperscaler data centers, the kind of energy what they need. There is no substitute, at least in countries like US, countries like India, Korea, Japan. They have no choice. Primarily because if you have very large space and very less population, maybe you can go with renewable, with battery storage. But the fact is, the countries which are densely populated and have aspiration to be a developed country with artificial intelligence, cutting edge technology, there is absolutely no choice, okay? And US, if you see all big fives, they are locking restart of nuclear plants, small modular capacity at 3 times the cost of electricity tariff which is available on gas-based plant. At $40 per megawatt hour, they are ready to book it at $110 per megawatt hour. That is the shortage of energy. So I would say that cost competitiveness, which is talked, extremely important. In fact, these companies, their way of looking at it is different. In US, per megawatt data center cost is $33. So let's say if $33 they are setting up the data center, nuclear plant is $3. So hardly any difference, even if it is 3 times, they want to reserve the capacity. So I think India, the situation is different. We are needing 8% growth, GDP growth every year. We are seeing what is happening in last quarter of last calendar year and first quarter of this calendar year. This is only beginning. What is happening in the IT sector and sectors after sector. The young people will not have employment opportunities. And if the expectation is 2026, 2027 will be the year which will be defining to see the application of AI in various industries. And expectation is the money will not be made by those who create infrastructure, the big five. They will make money, but not the real large money, but those who use it and develop the application. Like when internet trend, actually it went bust with the .com. Those who made money were Amazons and Netflix, who did not build networks like Cisco's and likes of that. Okay. So there will be new industries which will come. There will be opportunities in a country like India, but after 2-3 years later, not immediately. So cost competitiveness is extremely important because there is another side which across the world what I see, lot of research going on in battery storage. I think there was a statement made just before this meeting. I was in Reliance. They reconfirmed that with battery storage and renewable, the cost of electricity is almost same as that of thermal. And obviously they have invested in a company in UK with sodium batteries. And that's the new research which is going on, and that is not because this is not competitive, but their concern is lithium availability is not as good as sodium. Sodium is abundantly available. So a lot of research is happening across the world in battery storage. So if we do not pull up our socks, set up nuclear capacity very fast in a cost competitive way, obviously I would say you will still have nuclear capacity, but not to the scale what opportunities are in front of us, because the battery storage with renewable will take away a lot of demand. I would say in the countries where plenty of space is available and electricity tariffs are not very expensive, like countries like UAE, Saudi Arabia, why are they setting up data centers? Actually, US is planning their data centers there because a lot of space, electricity, cheap, plenty of solar, wind capacity you can create. So we need to really focus on ensuring that we make use of the experiences in past in India, outside India, and bring the capacity the way it is required. In fact, I was talking to Mr. BVR Subramaniam last June. I was surprised when 100 gigawatt was said. I said, whether this factors the requirement for artificial intelligence. He said, see, today in India, people are even scared to think about 100 gigawatt. There are questions being asked on that. Yes, in reality, if you really want to have cutting edge technology in artificial intelligence, you need in excess of 200 gigawatt. So first let us go to that 100 gigawatt. Okay. So this is the situation, and I would say that lot of capabilities are available in India, but leveraging those capabilities in a synergistic way is important. If we keep only discussing, if we keep only talking about the challenges, yes, challenges will be in everything. We have to find a solution and a way forward. This is what is my sort of opinion and request to all of you, because I do see a good mix of stalwarts and also a lot of youngsters. So if we really want to create a good future, then we have to make sure that we make it happen. Thank you.